question for Mr. Pennycuff. I know you're
Absolutely.
asking the questions, but I'd like to jump in. Do you know of any major districts that don't have to go to their voters to pass a levy to keep their operational services going?
Not any longer. There used to be some districts that didn't have to go to the voters very often because there was rampant new building construction
Yes, sir.
going on.
Yes.
You know, developers were killing cornfields and turning them into subdivisions. And so there were new buildings being added to the rolls. Communities such as our school district, Forest Park, Greenhills, and a portion of the township, those three areas are pretty much built out. There's a spare lot here and there, but for all intents, it's built out. So there are just not that many districts around the state that have extensive additional subdivisions being built that can add to the tax base.
That was sort of like a loaded question, but I think you answered it very well.
So I understand that new subdivisions are not being built, and so that eliminates some new money that could be coming into the Winton Woods School District, Mr. Pennycuff. But isn't it true that the more students we have, the more money we get? I've been told that by board members in the past, that because now, as Dr. Smith has alluded to in some other publications, it's gone up 14%. The enrollment has gone up 14% in the Winton Woods City Schools the last few years, so that means more money is coming into the Winton Woods City School District from a couple of different sources, I think is what I understand. So my question is, hasn't the apparent huge number of students newly enrolling in Winton Woods increased the revenue, while understanding at the same time, yeah, there are relatively few new homes being built in our district? Have the new students increased revenue in our district? Thank you.
Being built that can add to the tax base.
That was sort of like a loaded question, but I think you answered it very well.
Just wait till I give you my loaded question.
But I think it's
Nothing
very
like yes
important.
that do this for me. That's
I
fantastic.
think it's very important for the voters and for all of our constituents and stakeholders to know this is not a unique Winton Woods issue. This is a state funding issue, and of course, as Mr. Pennycuff, eloquently explained, the state underfunds schools. I mean, it's just the way that it is, and it's the way that it's always been. And so we've always had to go back to taxpayers, no matter what the situation is, no matter what district you're in. It's a norm. It's a normal process.
But the literal answer to your question of weren't you just here for operating money, that's 9 years ago, which is actually an amazing stretch
Totally
of
amazing.
the money that was approved by the voters.
But again here, Mr. Pennycuff, I'm confused because you see the last four levies there in 04, 09, and 16, none of them were operating levies. There was a current expense, I guess, but emergency and bond are not operating levies. This was an emergency. Again, very different than all the other current expense levies that have been used for about 50 or 60 years. So again, it was an emergency levy for 10 years. It's over. Our taxes now go down. Now it seems to me this is not a substitute levy. This is a new levy, or more accurately, a renewal. Am I correct in using those words? Or is substitute really something different, or is it the same old current expense levy? Thanks again.
Of the money that was approved by the voters 9 years ago.
So it sounds like it's really important to separate the bond, which can only be used, and that's what they've seen more recently, and it can only be used for the building,
Well said.
from the operating levy, which was for the operations cost. Will the new buildings produced by the bond affect operating costs? Will we be able to kind of see that? Will having new buildings impact the kind of operating costs in the
That's
future?
an excellent question.